Hello and welcome to the VR Talk Show podcast. As always, I'm AgentReaperVR, your host, here with my friends and a newcomer. To the left, Passion, Nord, the annoying desk ornament Penny, and our newcomer, RedMime.
Hello.
And today's topic, we are going to talk about kids in VRChat. So, does anyone want to open up the conversation?
I suppose we should clarify on what age range we're referring to when it comes to kids. Kids, teenagers, what age range?
As you call them, brats. So
true, but brats also has another meaning.
So
yeah, that's true.
VRChat, the age rating is like what? Teen? Is that what it is?
It's 13 plus, yeah.
Okay, so 13 plus. So you should be 13 plus to play this game. There's no identifying your identity or proof of credit card or whatnot, because the game is free to play and anyone can join in. But we have ran into plenty of small children. These are under 13 whenever we're playing public games, whether it be Among Us or something else that I can't think of off the top of my head because I love Among Us.
Murder mystery.
Among Us and other games that are not Among Us.
Yeah. Or hell, even just in worlds. It's not even just games. It's just any world based on pop culture. Or in general. Hell, Black Cat has a lot of them.
Yeah, it really does. Even at a certain time.
The most popular world.
I'll be on VR. When I first started playing VRChat, I would get on after work, be on for a couple hours, and then when it came to 4 a.m., that's when the kids will start getting up before their parents, just so they can hang out with their friends and play games. Because I noticed that a lot. After midnight, that's when you start hanging out with people that are 20 or so. But once it hit 4 a.m., that's when you start hearing those kids that are 10 or so years old. And it's annoying. They're always screaming at you. It's just... Yeah. It's just annoying, and I hate it.
I find it also happens right after the average school day. Because they come home and, oh no, they have all this free time because they don't do their homework. So what do their parents do? Instead of raising their children, let's let them have the VR set and let that babysit them.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So whenever there's a day off from school, they're after school, or it's a holiday or vacation they're on, kids will be on VRChat.
I think I've said this before. That I think this is the third time now I've said this, but it's television's been replaced by VR now, because we've had the conversation before where parents used to just leave their kids in front of the TV, give them Sky, now we've got so many things like Disney Plus, Hulu, all those sort of things, and while that's still around, now VRChat's being added into it.
Unlike all the other video games, the mass platform games like Minecraft, Roblox, Rec Room, VRChat,
Fortnite,
all the mass platform, all the mass platform games that are sort of a social setting. Yeah,
because
Quest 3.
No, parents are not going to pay $500 for that.
No, you guys do know that there's an iOS port of VRChat in the works, right?
Yep. There's an iOS and Android port.
Yeah, I saw the demo for that. It's crappy. It's worse than what it is on Quest.
Well, basically, yeah. We're gonna essentially have 3 builds of the game. We're gonna have the mobile build, the Quest build, and the PC build. So, yeah, it's and so it's
place bets now on which one's gonna be the worst.
The same build as the hold on.
Like, especially if you, I mean, you see it all the time out in public anyway, parents who will just hand the kids the phone and have them shut up and watch YouTube and stuff. So can you imagine, once the mobile port of VRChat comes out, kids during school, out shopping with their parents, basically they'll have even more access to VRChat than they did before because they don't have to haul the headset around with them. They can just hop right on mom's phone and get on VRChat.
Mommy. Here, take my phone.
I think honestly that this game isn't... It shouldn't be designed for children. Because obviously, yes, I know that the Quest is easily accessible for minors. But honestly, this game is kind of targeted towards a more mature audience. Given the kinds of worlds you visit, you know. Oh, Black Cat is a bar. You can't really say wrong. It's not. It even says in the description that it's designed as a bar and it's the most popular world. You have places like Frenny's Nightclub or, let's see,
the Great Pub.
Blackout, which is just a great pub. You know, Blackout, which is a murder game. You know, murder mystery where you're killing people. Guns and Steel, which you're killing people. You know, you have places like FBT Haven for PC players, which is literally a strip club. I don't think this game was ever supposed to be targeted towards children, which is also why they have like the minimum age range. But honestly, I think it should be raised to like 16, because I will say, when I was growing up, I never understood any concept of like all the mature stuff until I was well at like 16, 17, 18. I didn't understand any of it. So I'm also a victim myself of some sort of grooming and stuff like that. People do that kind of thing to younger kids, and it is a genuine problem in any sort of mass platform game like this. Speaking of which, there is a fun story that's something similar about somebody that me and Nord met recently. Nord, you want to give that story?
Yeah,
go ahead, Nord.
Yeah, we were in Frenny's nightclub, and what was the name of that girl? Do you remember offhand?
No, not really. Hold on, I can find.
Well, she was in a Christmas bond fee. Out, Avatar.
So this, but female, but also Christmas themed.
Yes.
Oh.
This guy named what was it, like Morale, and there was just a bunch of numbers after it.
Emerald. Yep.
Yeah. He comes up and starts asking very not very good questions.
Personal.
Very personal. Like talking about ERP and some. How did he word it about minors?
Basically, he said, "Do you know that minors play this game?" Which obviously everyone knows, because I have a lot of people blocked on my list that is just minors. But also, he asked if, like, does she ERP in public lobbies? Does she realize that her avatar is basically just idolizing, sexualizing things in front of minors? I'm like, this is a world that prides itself on being for adults, having adults in it, and yet people want to act like, yes, there's gonna be minors that join. Half the time they get kicked anyways, but then he's using me and all the other people that were responding to him. Hell, I told, like, she's been telling her friends about it, and they've been contacting him, and he's just using that for clout and content, saying these people are part of the problem because they have minors in an adult world. yeah, we can't really control that. We don't have the button to just boop gone. You know, we can block them, but that just get them
We can
off
hit the
the game and
kick,
off the world.
But people have to vote for that too.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could
And
say,
even sorry, go ahead.
all I was going to say quickly is that sometimes the situation with VRChat is similar to how the internet was when it first came out. Like, you know, think about it. Internet first comes out, it's clean, there's probably no adult content like that at all, and then of course as it progresses people start to put that online. Same with VRChat. I'm pretty sure when it first came out it was pretty clean and not plus 18, but with allowing people creativeness and, you know, the ability to private avatars, eventually it became the same as the internet. Everything has a dark side. People...
But I say labeling all adults as, you know, freaks, creeps, and pedos. That doesn't work. You know, it's
Yeah,
kind of
especially
like witch
because he
hunting in a
attacked
way.
you.
It's like those people that, yeah, it's like you went after me and my friend who were just vibing on the world. Like,
Yeah, you were
I
just
was
talking to
wearing
each other,
basically
right? By
this.
yourselves, no one else.
Exactly.
So you just came
Yeah,
right up
we
to
were
you and
kinda
just
in our
started
little group.
asking you
Asking her
questions.
questions.
He's just like, yep. And he made her
yeah.
extremely uncomfortable. And I was telling her,
tell.
like, you should stop responding to him. I can tell something's wrong with him. Something's up. He's not here for any sort of nice things. Because
And as soon as you
funny
said
enough,
that, he
I
started
look back-
talking to you.
He also muted me for a time. But so
Yes,
I
he
will say
did.
I have a background in social psychology. I can tell when somebody does not have good intentions just by talking to them for 2 minutes tops. I can tell if they don't have good intentions. He didn't have good intentions, and I could tell that by his first question, by the
I
way
can tell
he
by the
worded,
aura in his
phrased,
words
and
too.
said his just how he phrased and said his first questions to her was like, do you realize that or do you like ERP in public lobbies where there's children around? I'm like, who starts a conversation like that?
Yeah, no one does.
It's not
That's
something
when
you
Reaper. That's
start
when Reaper.
with.
You need to put in that Family Guy clip. Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Exactly. It's like, why is that the first thing you add? You didn't even give context. Like, you didn't say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm recording a video showing the depravity of VRChat. If you wanted the depravity of VRChat, go to Black Cat, find Tech Gangster, who's a confirmed and very well-known pedophile that continues to come back even after getting banned a ton. Like, if you want to find the problem, go to the people that are the problem. Don't just witch hunt and just find people to harass. You know? It just makes you look like a troll.
Personally speaking, if I came across that type of situation, I wouldn't even say anything, because you can edit a lot these days. Even if you say, I don't want to talk about it or anything, all I do is just block the guy and get on with my life, because he's not worth, or any person like that is not worth wasting my time over about. Sure, you can report him for harassment if VRChat will ever do anything. VRChat? Anyway.
The worst part about it, though, part about it is one of Red's friends, who was a minor, came in, and Red was telling him that he shouldn't be there.
Yeah, so Red was being responsible.
It's an adult world.
Yes.
I'm not going to, like, gatekeep
this
people.
guy who started chewing him out for having minors on his friends list. Like, an adult can't have a child as a friend.
I have like 900 plus friends on my list. Obviously, I'm gonna have some minors because I go into games, people just randomly add me. I add them back because I like to keep my trusted user rank. I'm sorry if I have some minors on my friends list. 90% of my friends list I haven't seen since I added them.
Honestly, I'm the same way.
He's putting apples with oranges You know, like every trusted user is gonna have 500 500 plus friends, because that's how you have to play to get trusted user anyways. You know, you have to be adding people. You have to be social. You have to accept any friend request you get at the start, because otherwise you won't rank up at all. You'll just be stuck at the
Well,
bottom.
I'll say as myself, and this is a problem I had too. Like, I did have a couple minors on my friends list at one point. But since I have taken up the role of a club owner, it is very problematic for me to have minors on my friends list. So the very few that I did have, I had to cut ties with them, because I have a friend who is an adult performer and who plays VRChat. And when she saw that I had a minor on my friends list, she started chewing me out too, and saying, that you can't be having this. And so I had to cut ties with those people, and now I refuse to add anyone who is who is underage, because then it damages my reputation, the reputation of my club, and it's just not worth it.
I understand that. I will say, just from personal experience, I genuinely don't think that this is a game designed, or that should just allow kids ungatekeeped. Because obviously there's no real way to verify people besides their age, right?
I mean, personally, like, I wish that VRChat would do more, but I know that they won't, because as much as we complain about minors being VRChat, let's face it, VRChat would not have gotten to where it is today without minors being in the game. And I think VRChat knows that they are a huge demographic, and they don't want to do anything to say, well, oh, sorry, now you got to be 18 plus to play our game, because they would know that that's the player count would just plummet.
Even if they did change it to plus 18 only, they still wouldn't put any way of authenticating it anyway, so nothing would change.
True.
Also, VRChat won't become an 18 plus game, because they rely solely on donations and sponsors for their monetization to make the platform even still exist. You know, VRChat Plus and external sponsors for development. So if I'm gonna be real, most big companies aren't going to want to sponsor a game that, or a game development that's purely 18 plus. Because usually, what do you think of when you think of games that are designed purely for adults?
Price.
Well, depends on the era, because I'd say today that games for adults are way more profitable than they used to be.
Yes, they are.
I mean, so the problem is they can't market it as a game for adults, because if you have any sort of NSFW or 18 plus anything in a game, a lot of sponsors are just going to pull out. They're not going to want their label slapped onto an NSFW game, or a game that idolizes that sort of behavior. Which I understand.
True. And VRChat does have a lot of events that go on that are sponsored by all these these companies as well, to promote their company, like VRCon, and I think there's some other stuff too. Isn't there like a music fest thing too that they have?
Yeah. They have all sorts of things.
Yeah, so
hell, they have the.
So yeah, if VRChat was an 18 plus game, they might not have stuff like that. It'll be completely different of the type of sponsors they'll probably get. So they have to keep it at least PG-13 setting.
I mean, the one thing I could see that they could do is try to find a way to separate, like through some sort of like
Filter?
setup to where they a filter for
Calling
18
system,
plus.
I mean,
they could base it off the age that you make your account at. If you make an account, they could just call you with people similar to your age group, or just cut it directly at 18.
Yeah.
Because you do, if I remember right, I haven't made an account in a very long time, considering this is my main. If you do make an account, and if they have, like, please input your birthday or whatever, they could label it as, we'll do something nice for your birthday, because that's what a lot of games do. That's how they make sure that their audience isn't just gonna lie. They say, hey, please input your birthday so that we can send you a gift or something on your birthday.
or
Well,
at least put your age in your bio, if they can do that.
Yeah, well, what I think they could do is, if they added the birthday thing, they could put a label on minors, for example, like under their bio. In the social tab, if you look at your bio, they could put, like, let's see, under your name, they could put, like, is minor or something, just to, like, cull the two.
Or how about not verified or something like that. Like to be
I
verified.
think it would be
What
very
good is
easy,
if
like
they did have an ID, verification system for, like, you could send your ID, because a lot of games do that. A lot of Discord servers do that. A lot of things do that. If you're playing an 18-plus game, or are an adult on a game, or a server, or anything, a lot of places will actually want you to ID verify. Hell, dating apps have been doing this for years. Yes, you can use them without being verified, but you're not going to get any attention. Once you get verified, you just send them your ID, block out all the personal shit, because they don't need that. And once you're verified, you'll get, like, a check or something next to your name that says, hey, I'm an adult, I'm verified. But I do get the other side of it, is they don't want this game to become just an adult's game, or just a dating game. Because at the end of the day, it's a social game. It's not a dating game. It's not a dating app. It's not designed for dating. It's not designed to find relationships. Obviously, people do, because it's very immersive and you get to talk to everyone around the world. But they don't want it to be a dating or a hookup game, because that looks bad for the brand, if that makes sense. That's how I see it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
they already
Makes a lot
have
of sense,
the nuisance rank as well, where, like, if you get blocked too many times, like, you show up as nuisance rank. I think they could very easily implement a system where, even if kids do lie about their age, where they say, oh, actually I'm 18, but they're not, you could easily set it up to where people who do the right thing and say that they're underage end up on a completely separate server from where the adults are hanging out, and it's all taken care of in the background. Nobody knows what's going on. And even if a kid does somehow say, well, I'm over 18, you could have, through, like, reporting or through other methods, just silently transitioning those people over to the underage server, and they wouldn't even be able to tell the difference.
Because, I do know that some games use that sort of culling system for, well, it's not directly age groups, but I play a lot of competitive games, so they do have things like skill-based matchmaking, depending on behavior and how you play in-game. So if you were to have something similar, based
like
on,
an
like,
age-based matchmaking. Age-based matchmaking,
exactly.
essentially.
Yeah.
That could theoretically work, but I mean...
Although they probably call it a maturity rating.
Yeah. Because let's be
like
real,
I say,
there's minors that are more mature than half the adults that play this game, and there's more adults that are less mature than half the minors that play this game.
This is true.
It's all just dependent
I've
on
seen it.
how
I've
you were
seen
raised,
that.
I guess.
I've seen that all too many times.
And I'm sure, does everybody know why the age limit is 13? Just posing a question.
Well, I mean,
'Cause I do.
so Discord and most other social media apps are 13 plus just because they can't really monitor what people experience in this game directly. Like, you could have somebody just come into this room and just scream the N-word because no one can really stop them. So they want to be
Suddenly,
at a decent...
Suddenly everyone looks over at Octo, who just joined in.
That's been insensitive.
But, you know, you could have that kind of person, or you could have somebody just coming in with, you know, the biggest 12-inch Schmeat avatar that they forgot to untoggle the toggles for. You can't really stop, because it is, after all, this is the culmination of the internet. You will find literally everything and everything here.
Yeah,
Anything
you
and
will.
everything. You'll find servers you can make food in. You'll find servers you can sleep in. You'll find servers you can watch porn in for some reason. You can, you know, there's clubs, there's bars, there's restaurants, there's beaches, there's, you know, houses, there's minigame, literally everything. And you expect VRChat, which relies purely on user-generated content, to continue to supply their game, to be able to, you know, they put the 13 plus because they know they don't want children to be exposed to that so early on. You know, kids
Well,
are
I was gonna
extremely
say
impressionable.
that the reason it's 13 plus is because it's literally illegal for them to have it any less because of COPPA, because it is illegal to collect information, personal information of those under the age of 13 over the internet.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's why all these different
That is true.
servers have
Also very
all these
true.
different like applications say 13 plus, because if they were to try to collect the data of anyone under that age, that is literally a felony. That is against the law. So, but so, and that's why it kind of boggles my mind how on one hand you have these parents getting up in arms about, oh, what is the internet doing to our children? Meanwhile, you're the one handing them the phone at the grocery store, letting YouTube collect all that data about what they're watching and what they're clicking on when they're under 13. So it's like, you know, it's a fake crusade, I think.
It is.
in
Yeah,
terms of
sounds like it is.
like, it's like
Definitely
it's
sounds like
it's a
it.
pain.
Because if you're saying that they're collecting data from people and mom hands little Timmy her phone so Timmy can watch YouTube, and he watches some sort of kids show on it, and then Google collects that information and then starts marketing more kids stuff to adults. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what that whole deal is with YouTube a few years ago was, where they were like, the government was threatening to, you know, ban YouTube unless they put in some kind of COPPA protections in place, because that's what was going on, is that they were collecting data from minors on the YouTube platform. And yeah, so that's what that's all about. But like, it's tricky because on the one hand, you know, yes, being a culmination of the internet. Oh my God, we did it again.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't either.
But yeah, it's a tricky situation, because as much as we complain about the minors, like I say, I do feel like VRChat would not be sustainable without them. And I think that then the question then becomes, you know, like we were talking about, how do we separate the minors from the adults? Because I don't know about everyone else, but has anyone seen I think it was Wired magazine that put it out, I do believe. They sent a reporter into VRChat and basically they stereotyped all of VRChat as a bunch of pedos because this one reporter was able to go into an instance while the reporter was posing as like a 13-year-old girl, go into this nightclub and start talking to people, and then she said, "Oh, well, look at this. This is what VRChat allows. It's all a bunch of pedos." And so basically she stereotyped the entire VRChat community like that. And it sucks that that's the angle the media is taking. I get it. It generates clicks. It generates views. And in this day and age, that's all you can really count on to pay the bills.
Yep, clickbait.
But it sucks that they throw VRChat under the bus for some headlines.
Only to draw some attention to themselves. And yeah, just for clickbait. Sorry, Red.
I will say that with the whole problem, so I hope that everyone here has heard of what's called the 80-20 rule. So the 80-20 rule is 80% of the problems are caused by 20% of the people. In this case, it's more like 90-10, but, you know. But that 10% is also what the media focuses on. And it's the same way with, like, the anime community and the furry community. You have all these people that are really cool people, you know? You have these really cool people. And then you have those bad eggs that the media catches in the act. And they label all of the rest of the people as the part of this 10% that is doing all the wrong stuff. It's the same way in VRChat. Yes, there's going to be bad people here because it's a free game that's massive platforming. You have it on every VR headset ever. If you have a decent enough computer, you can play it. If you have $300, you can buy a Quest and play it. So obviously you're going to have a couple bad apples. You're going to have a lot of bad apples.
Oh, yeah.
There's a few million people that play this game daily, you know? Obviously, some of those people are not going to be good people. But I say that it's the problem with just media in general, is they sort of group everyone together. It's like the same way with furries, you know? A furry gets caught for being a pedo. It's not because they're a furry that they're a pedo. It's because they're a pedo that they're a pedo, you know? And then because they are a furry, the entire community is now labeled as a pedo because they are a furry. They identify in the furry fandom. Same way as anime lovers, you know, people that watch anime, people that watch hentai, for example, you know, they do something wrong. Oh, the anime community is all horrible people because this one person did something wrong. Or these few people did something wrong, and now it's everyone called into the same group.
I mean, Red, I know of a similar situation. A while back, I was playing Fallout 4, and there was this high school that the students were being forced to eat this pink paste, and it turns out it was based on a true story. The schools were given this pink paste to eat, which was made of like leftover meats and all that sort of stuff, and there technically wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just a meat product or something like that. But the media decided to say that it was made out of this and that and this and that, which it wasn't actually true, and then because of the media, it got removed.
Mm-hmm. It's the same way with a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Yeah, it's the pink goo. I remember that big debacle. Everybody was like, "Oh, the pink goo is killing our children." I'm like, "No, it's just an additive." I mean, yes, it makes it less meat, but it also makes it cheaper to make. And I get why they had it. It's not. It's basically just, well, it's also similar way with like MSG. MSG is a food additive that is effectively salt. It's just salt. People are scared of it because you hear the term monosodium glutamate, and you're like, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to consume that. But you hear dihydrogen monoxide, and you can't live without that because that's water. Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean you should immediately put it in the bad category, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing. Also, for those at home that are playing along, dihydrogen monoxide is water.
So let me ask this question.
In the video, that would be the perfect opportunity to put "the more you know."
Very nice.
Go ahead, Patrick.
So wrapping this, we're getting a bit derailed here, as we usually do on this podcast. But
Yes.
wrapping it back around, do you think the fundamental question is, I guess, do you think that kids should or should not be allowed on VRChat?
But first, let's introduce this week's sponsor. Hi there, AgentReaperVR here to talk to you about OtakuAnime.com. OtakuAnime.com is an anime clothing brand, going from t-shirts to hoodies. You can choose from different animes like Hunter x Hunter, Chainsaw Man, and others. Go to OtakuAnime.com, place your order in, and at checkout, use my promo code AgentReaperVR and get 25% off your order. So remember, OtakuAnime.com, AgentReaperVR for the promo code. I don't think they should be.
I will go first in that. I will say they should be, but they should be culled away from the adults, and especially away from adult-themed worlds like FBT or most of the PC worlds, to be honest. Or like anything with like love or desire or whatever, in the name. Anything with like NSFW games or whatever, like the Truth or Dare, Cards Against Humanity, all of those. I think they should be culled, but I do think since they do represent a very large part of the community, that they should still be allowed to be here, because that is how VRChat makes a lot of revenue. And otherwise, we don't have a game to play.
Well, VRChat's not going to make any money from kids, because they're not going to buy the
Their parents.
VRChat Plus.
Their parents.
Yeah, you're
That's
probably
the thing.
right on that. Yeah, the parents.
Although I would argue, just to flip it back around, I would argue that the kids at least offer exposure in a way that adults maybe can't, because adults may be, busy with work or busy with college or something like that, whereas kids, they have the free time to brag to all their friends, say, hey, I've been playing this new game, you should hop on too, and that grows the player base. So
But what about all the VTubers and everything? There's hundreds of them.
Yeah, that's exposure as well. But also, let's be real,
It is also
VTubers and
exposure.
VRChat tend to get a bad rep, except a few dozen of them.
Yeah, that's true.
You're
Because
not wrong.
a lot of them just choose to be the biggest booba avatar that they can find, and
Yeah.
there you go,
million
Agent. There's your
viewers,
next
so, yeah.
topic, as VTubers.
Nobody look at me. Nobody look at me.
People are looking at you. Or they could be easily looking over here as well. Not too
They
bad
said
of a story.
biggest.
They said big, not
Okay.
biggest.
Small
or a
booba.
passion over there.
My booba's small.
A nice pair of boobs.
I say, as annoying
much
as they
it.
are, I see why they need to be on the platform. What about you,
Right.
Penny?
What?
Should kids
Thoughts
be
on
on?
if kids should be on here or not?
I mean, it goes back to what I was saying about just like VRChat and the internet being the same. Personally speaking, I feel like they should designate certain areas that kids should be assigned to, but at the same time, they're not really going to do anything. One thing I was going to reference, and I do apologize if anyone's religious or anything, is that you can see VRChat and the real world God and VRChat's makers kind of the same thing. They do the bare minimum and then leave it for everyone else to deal with the BS. And I probably just offended
That's true.
every single religious person.
That is
Well,
the
you're not wrong.
What you're
Religion.
good at.
You were literally saying, someone was literally saying that VRChat has everything, just like the real world. Same thing with its overseers.
There's a song that
VR
I
chat has
sat in the chair again.
Auschwitz.
Auschwitz?
Oh God, I hope
Probably.
not.
I'll be honest, it probably has something similar somewhere.
And now somebody's gonna freaking look that.
It's a wonderful thing just to notify,
But
isn't
yeah,
it?
so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, there's a song by Bo Burnham that's everyone has probably heard a dozen times or more, called "Welcome to the Internet." That is
Yep.
I know it.
effectively the culmination of the internet, but also it's
Have you not?
very representative of what VRChat is. Because there's also a
Have you not
parody
heard-
guy, I
There's
forget
a
his name.
welcome to VR chat as well.
TFM Johnny.
Yeah,
TFM
I've
Johnny.
seen that. Yeah, there's that one too, and it's effectively the same thing. Is there's a little bit of everything all of the time. You can find anything on the internet. You could find anything in this game.
I believe the first lyrics were,
Exactly.
"Welcome to VR Chat. Have a look around. Would you like to shop at Kmart or sniff anime women's feet?" I think.
No.
I have an appetite with the
that's
entire
definitely in the
song,
wrong
but I
order.
also don't want him to get.
No,
I don't
that was
want
the
him to get
lyrics.
Copyrighted.
So I don't think kids should be on VR chat. For one, yes, VR chat developers aren't gonna anytime soon develop the technology to separate the verified adults from the unverified kids to make it safer for the kids. That's not gonna happen anytime soon, and it's probably not gonna happen for another couple of years. So keep kids out of VR chat. That's my opinion. What about you, Nord?
Fair.
Can I just
As far as anything.
hang on? Can I just say quickly? You know that picture of Uncle Sam that says "Uncle Sam wants you"? I feel like we should get a picture of you, Agent, doing that same pose, saying "VR chat doesn't need kids."
Oh god, that would be awesome.
I
That
want
sounds
you to
amazing.
keep kids off VR chat.
That
I
sounds
mean, in my bio, I even put a
No,
direct
even-
quote
even-
from
even-
V
even better.
Infuso.
Even better. Get him a Smokey the Bear hat. Only you can prevent your kids from being on VR chat.
Valid point.
That is
I mean, in my
awesome.
bio, I have a direct.
Do it,
In
do
my
it,
bio, I have
do
a
it.
direct quote from V Infuso that says, "I don't like children, so if you are a children, then piss off." That is a direct quote from every single
lovely.
intro of V Infuso's. If you guys don't know him, he's a I guess he's like a review channel kind of thing. I don't know, but he makes satirical
That's
videos
amazing.
based on. Yeah, and it's funny. So Nord, you were saying
Your thoughts?
I mean, I like it's been said, can't do anything. It's just a whole big mess. There's no real way to do anything, even if I wanted to. The only thing we can really do at the moment is just see a kid, kick him.
True.
Pretty much.
So a very realist take on it.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with that if it were kids, if it was like going back to the previous conversation about that jerk you're on about. You know, VR chat is like real life. You're just here to have fun. So if you're dealing with people that are being moody, complaining, or being complete and utter dicks, they're not worth your time because you've got better things to do.
I know.
So I agree with you on
Right.
that, Nord.
Because if they keep
You
on
know,
pushing,
complete and utter
Exists.
jerks.
boop. Yeah. Well, if they keep on coming at you, they're just being a Karen.
Also,
You're not
Sure.
wrong.
Or like, for example, the guy from earlier, the Morale guy that was harassing us. Those kind of people, they're just not worth your time, you know? They want to judge you for what avatar you wear and being in a public space, you know? It's not like I would wear that kind of outfit in real life, because I have a little more, you know? When you're behind a screen, you can do and say whatever, you know? Which is where people get the idea that they can just go and harass people like that, too. So I will
Yeah, but
say
the thing
the
is-
block button exists. Use it.
Yeah, but Red, the same thing kind of happens in VRChat sometimes. Like, whenever I work in VRChat, I work with a group called Punchline Comedy, and every single person who's staff there is in a human avatar. And as you can see clearly, I'm a pony, not a horse. I just want that on record. So sometimes it feels like I'm a little bit out, the odd one out. I mean, we're all fine here because, you know, we've
I make friends with a lot of people that wear those e-girl, e-boy, normal human-looking avatars. I'm always the odd one out, but they don't
like this
mind
one.
it because people realize that you can be literally whatever you want in this game.
Exactly.
If I want to be a thick femboy toy bunny, I can be. If you wanted to be a Umbreon that I've seen 1,000 NSFW versions of, you can be. There's no limits. The only limit is creativity in this game. So just because there's some bad eggs in this game does not mean that the game as a whole is bad.
Right.
Yeah, but there is one other
Exactly.
there is one other thing I do have to say about this game as well. You all
What's
ready?
There's so much porn!
I agree.
You just
with
need to know where to
you.
find it. That's the one thing. You just need to know where to find it.
Not wrong.
Welcome
Thank
to
you,
Rule
Ted.
34,
It is
ladies and
very true
gentlemen.
and lovely.
Rule 34 in a VR game. That would be a very interesting title.
Jesus.
Oh, that should be another upcoming
Might need to
topic.
get
Is
working on
the NSFW community in VRChat.
We've
Good luck
already
keeping
done
your
it, Red.
monetization with that one.
We actually already
you
have
have?
done that episode,
Oh,
which you
then
can watch
that
now
would
on
be-
Agent Reaper's
I'd
YouTube
love to
channel.
do
Links
that.
below.
We did it. Yeah, it was a 2-part episode.
3-part, actually.
I missed
Was it
it.
3? No, it was 2.
I must have
Ooh.
Yes,
missed
it was a
that.
3-part.
I'm gonna
Well,
need to link to
it's-
that.
I'll be
Two.
sure to watch that.
We did the one.
Remember we had Dakota. We had Dakota on the 3rd part.
No, that was the 2nd part.
Can you
I
make
could've
up
Yeah,
sworn
for
I
it was
remember
3.
now.
I'm the host. I'm the
Well, it
editor
was
of this
immediately
show.
after-
You don't know. You don't think I would know my own show?
It'd be a very difficult conversation if you didn't.
Yes, it would.
Anyway.
But I mean, I think that that when I stop and think about, I mean, yes, we all, like I say, I've said it before, we all complain about the screaming kids and everything, which I do believe that it's certainly a parent's responsibility. Like, if your kid is under 13, then it falls on you as the parent to, monitor what they're doing. And I get it. I get that parenting is very freaking hard, and a lot of the times, a lot of the parents just don't want to deal with it. They don't have the mental capacity to deal with it, so that's why they shove the screens in the kids' face, because they don't have the willpower or the patience to deal with it. But at the same time, like, I think if you were under 13, no, you should not be on the game. And that's period. But
I will say
when I think about, kids who are from 13 up through 17, should they be allowed on the game? I would say yes. Because thinking about the game where I don't think I would enjoy a VR chat that's just adults and all the content is made by adults for adults. I don't think I would enjoy that. Because then we wouldn't get things like because then it would all just be like that adult only content all the time. And I think that there would be no, there'd be, if not, there'd be like very few safe for work kind of things, because you got to realize that a lot of these kids, some of them are also creators in the game as well. They make worlds, they make avatars, and they are contributing to the community. And I think that while yes, we should definitely be separating the adults from those kids, I don't think that the game would be better off without them.
I will.
Fashion,
I
I've
would
gotta
like to
say
add something too. It shouldn't just come down to age as well, because I've met a lot of, like, being on this game, you meet 13-year-olds that act and are as mature as adults, or you meet, like, 17-year-olds that act like 12-year-olds. It should also come down to, like, maturity level, you know? It's a parent's responsibility to know if their child's mature enough to play a game that will expose them to some not, amazing things. Sorry to interrupt, by the way.
Well,
That's a valid point.
going back to what Passion was saying quickly, I mean, yes, if all the worlds were adult content, that's fine, but then you have a few worlds like, literally, someone brought in about 70% of the original Rugrats PS1 video game into VRChat.
Really?
Yeah, Rugrats Search for Reptar. It's literally in the game in VRChat, PC only, and you can play about 70% of the missions.
Oh.
Amazing.
I mean, somebody else made like the entirety of, I think it's Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah,
They recently
into...
they also recently got Ocarina of Time up and running too, somewhat.
Oh, Agent, for your next podcast, how about instead of us being just here, we take the podcast to how can I put this? The weirdest worlds we've ever encountered.
The weirdest worlds we ever
Go
encountered?
on a field trip.
Yeah, and we can actually go to them and show them off.
Like one of those
That
top
sounds
10
amazing.
worlds you should visit kind of thing.
Well, if
I
you
do
want to
like
be
the
weirded out,
idea
worlds
of
yeah.
that
like a
you cringe at.
hidden gems videos, because let's be real, if you're scrolling through the worlds list, there are so many worlds.
There are
that
so many
completely
worlds.
dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
a
can
lot
you
of
just
these worlds
imagine?
Just
are
looking at it.
so cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but can you just imagine? Agent Reaper is standing in front with the camera saying, "Hey, this is Agent Reaper, and welcome to our first weird world." And in the background, all of us are just running around with zombies chasing us, like if we were in Scooby Doo. And Agent's just casually there, going, "Welcome to the stream."
That
That's a valid
sounds
point.
amazing. Also, I can
Although
only hope
my
that it's
headset is
custom
dying,
compatible.
so
Your headset about to go dead.
we probably I don't know how long we've been going, Reaper, but we might want to wrap up.
That is true.
I'm sure
It's
you've
been
been
about
going
How
for
long
a
have we
while.
been?
No, it's almost been an hour.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's
So-
about time to wrap up.
Octo, give us
Yeah.
your opinion about if kids should be on VRChat or not.
Well, it's my personal opinion. Kind of going off what you were saying before. I do, again, see the appreciation for having it be the open platform that it is, but having it be separate is a dramatically better instance. So it's sort of an optional thing. Of course, you can choose to leave it be the way that it is, but for parents who want to keep their kids safe, or at least are trying to keep their kids safe, they should be able to enforce a kids-only area.
Parental permission kind of thing.
Right. So, like, they can set up, like, sort of like a default account. Whenever they hop on, there's nothing assigned and they're a visitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if that was set up as so that would bring you only to all the, like, kids areas? Kind of like a kids account on Netflix. You get all the kids shows, all the childlike stuff, but after you create an account, you can turn off those parental controls, and you can go pretty much anywhere. And it lets you actually visit worlds and go talk with other people that have made accounts and are sort of verified.
Yeah, parental accounts would be nice. Like
And
have
I will
the
say
That's
parental.
not a bad idea.
Yeah, and I will say for like adult-specific worlds like Frennies or FBT Haven, Hell, maybe even like bar worlds like Midnight Bar or Black Cat have some sort of like, or Drinking Night, have some sort of like actual verification. Like if you have your ID
Right.
verified, you can go to those worlds. Because let's be real, most people that do go to those worlds on main are adults, you know, and they'd be more
Right.
than willing to verify that their identity, that they are an actual person. They're an actual adult. I would be more than happy to have a check mark by my name that says, hey, I'm an adult. I can go to the more mature audience, you know, the worlds that are for mature people, you know, because those worlds are not for children. Midnight Bar is not for children. Frenny's not for children. Black Cat is a bar. You know, it is advertised as a bar. It's not for children. So I do say that a verification system so even if you do have like a linked account, you would still be locked out of some worlds, but not all of them. You would have a lot more
Right.
access, but anything that is labeled as like a strip club or a bar or an adult's hangout would probably have like an extra verification step. I would think that would work too. I don't know.
Although
Right.
you'd have to be
And that-
careful
I can definitely
about
agree
how
with
you
that.
did that, because I'm sure that a lot of people would see that as like a security risk of, oh, well, who are you asking for my like personal identification? And I think it would be a kind of a big PR nightmare if you were just like, hey, give us your driver's license numbers and all your like personal information. We won't do anything sketchy with it, I promise.
Well,
It's like so.
well, so the thing is how
a part of that, you don't need all of the information to try and confirm that you are an adult. You only need a fraction of it, if anything. You would only
you just need your
maybe,
birthday
like,
and your face.
an ID.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
your
personally, I
face and
know
your
that like
birthday.
when I
Boom.
get ID verified at clubs, I mean, I'm too lazy to go in and go into like a photo editor and be like, okay, let me scratch out my address and my ID number and all that. It's too much of a pain. And I'm sure a lot of people would not like have the patience
It takes
to do
30
that.
seconds.
Well, look at TikTok.
If-
People don't
if you're
have
gonna-
the
if you're-
attention span of 30 seconds.
I mean, true, but also if you're
That's
you're gonna
the
be that
newer
lazy, then
generation
I
that
don't-
doesn't have
I
that
don't think
attention
you-
span.
well, this is why I'd say that adults that do have the attention span, it takes 30 seconds. You take a shot, you put it in Paint 3D, scratch out a few things, copy the whole thing, paste it, boom, done, easy. You know, and you just put a selfie. Because the only thing they would need to know is that your birthday, it's a valid ID, so they would have like the state or wherever you got the ID from, and your face. And then they would need a selfie to compare the two. That's it. And once they figured out that, yeah, you're an adult, that just put a sticker on your account. It would unlock all the rest of the worlds. It wouldn't it wouldn't lock a lot of worlds. Like, a lot of worlds would still be unlocked with a linked account. You know, they would have the kids' accounts for the unlinked, like the kids' worlds, like all of those. For the unlinked accounts, they would have all of the mid-range ones, like Murder Mystery, or all of the Among Us games, or anything like that, right? For the mid-tier, and then for the like verified adults, they would unlock worlds like Midnight Bar, FBT Haven, Love Desires, Frennies, you know, those kind of worlds that are targeted for adults, if that makes sense.
Well, I think
That
in
was
order
my
to
idea.
make that work, you would need instead of like requiring the user to go in and edit stuff out, what you would need is you'd need a secure encryption on the website. Like, and you don't do it in game. You create a secure encrypted server through the VRChat website that they can just upload their full ID to, and the AI algorithm is able to detect the parts that it needs, ignore the parts that it doesn't need, and then it's all handled through this like very secure encryption. And then, hey, you've got, because like if you make an OnlyFans account, like that's how they do it. You upload your full ID, and their algorithm kind of just goes through it and looks at it and takes what's important and ignores what's not, and boom, suddenly you're age verified. And it has to be a secure thing like that, because otherwise people are gonna be concerned about, well, where is my data getting stored somewhere and all that. So
Yeah,
I think it's
should
possible
make it
to
so
do
that
that,
it
but
doesn't store things. Like after
it
you're
would have,
done
they'd have to
verifying,
have
it
a
just
lot of
deletes
infrastructure
it.
in place for that.
I mean, let's be real. With how advanced AI is nowadays, that's coming very, very soon. That kind of tech that... Well, I mean, you said OnlyFans does it, so obviously it exists. You can just do that. They just implement it, and boom, people are age verified. Which also is good, because then you get a lot less children that are playing this.
And I think it would also have to rely on the world creators as well to mark their content as for adults, because otherwise it has to become like a mutual kind of collaboration.
I mean, VRChat does already kind of murk worlds that are for adults, any sort of like explicit worlds. Hell, Frennies had to go through apparently a few versions just to be able to be uploaded, because a lot of the posters from the game Frennies is based off of are genuinely not safe for work. So, VRChat doesn't like NSFW stuff. Even in their terms of service, they don't allow it. Hell, you can get reported in a private instance and lose your account the same way you can in a pub. They don't like NSFW stuff. It doesn't look good for the brand. But it doesn't stop people from making that, because they rely on user reports, and there is way too many people for them to... I was talking to a VRChat mod earlier on the Discord today. They said they have almost 2 weeks behind in tickets, because they have so many reports every day.
Wow.
So many people reporting. Yeah, they're 2 weeks behind in tickets, because there's 1 million users. There's millions of users that play this. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of problems, but I do think that
millions of users, thousands of reports, and there's less than I would assume 10,000 people trying to moderate all of it, which is
there's
impossible.
I think there's, if I remember right, I saw that there was about less than 100 active VRChat moderators. Otherwise, it's the developers which don't do the moderating. They just... Because a lot of it does rely on, the world, because they don't want to have to be responsible to ban people from the game. If you see somebody doing something wrong, vote to kick them. I really wish that VRChat would get rid of the minimum requirements, even unless it's just don't be a visitor. But, if there are people causing problems, then you should just kick them. Block, kick, report. Easy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've been taking up most of the time in this episode. I just realized I talk too much.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
You
Don't worry
have a
about
lot
it.
to explain, and it's perfectly
Well,
normal.
with the way this topic is, that's perfectly
I
fine.
would be talking a lot as well. I generally just don't have too much to add. I have my opinion, and that's
I've pretty
kind of
much
it.
said my
I don't have
piece.
much actual information.
Yeah, I'm good, Reaper.
Does anyone else have anything they want to say?
Would you like to rephrase that real quick? my hearing might have messed up a little bit. It sounded like you said your penis.
No. I said, does anyone else have anything to say?
No, I said my piece.
Oh. His piece.
I said
That's
something else.
Way of rephrasing that. I thought you were trying to say your opinion, but it sounded like something completely different.
It's like last episode when I thought Space said something about stripping, and I'm like, what?
Jesus. All right. So, I guess that's it for now. For this topic. Thank you for joining us here on the VR Talk Show podcast. From
Rest
Passion.
in peace to the chairs.
Yeah, rest in peace, chairs. Well, your chairs, they keep flying for no apparent reason. You sure you're just not like...
There. I think one's backstage.
Yeah, and I drifted off. Because my controller drifted. I don't know how that happened. Probably just rested my thumb against the thumbstick and it just... Alright, so... going back to what I was saying, thank you for joining us for this episode of the podcast. From Passion, Nord, Penny, Octo, and Red, thank you. Have a good night. Goodbye.
And that's a wrap.
You just lead us this chair.
Oh,